Good morning, everybody. It's Todd Salen with the Remax Choice Selling Homes 24/7 team. I hope you're having a great day. It's beautiful spring weather. And if you're like many buyers, you're frustrated right now because you're trying to buy a home in a seller's market. What does it mean to be a seller's market? That means there's a lot more buyers than there are properties available. There's less inventory on the market than ever before here in Champaign-Urbana. And it can be really frustrating. It's frustrating for my buyers, especially because they're making offers and they're not getting the house that they want to get. So I'm going to talk to you about some strategies that we have as brokers that we can work together on to maybe make your offer stand above the other offers that are made on a particular house. And there's four areas I want to talk about. The first is price. Okay. Now, it's not uncommon for houses to be sold at list price and even, believe it or not, above list price. Okay. So don't think that it's like in the past, list price was maybe the top price that a seller was hoping to get. Now, list price is maybe the bottom price that a seller is hoping to get. And it's scary and disappointing. But just know that when you're making an offer on a house, especially if it's been on the market for just a day or two, that you're going to probably have to pay list price unless there's something drastically wrong. Now, your realtor can help you with this decision on what is the price that we should go into. There's a couple of ways to affect the price. One is you might be hearing about an escalation clause, and I emphasize this, you, not your broker, you or your attorney can write language into the contract that says, I am willing to pay, say, $500 more than whatever is the best offer you have on the property, okay? So let's say that you're buying a $100,000 house and you're a $100,000 listing and you offer $100,000 and you write in the margin of the contract, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when you're considering offers, please know I am willing to add $500 to whatever your best offer is up to, and make sure you put an up to because you don't want to make this unlimited. So let's say in a $100,000 house, up to $110,000, I am willing to make an offer $500 better than the best offer you have on the table. Okay, so that's one thing. Again, it's called an escalation clause. Make sure that you are the one initiating that, and make sure if you have an attorney that you run the language by the attorney, because I want to make sure that you're not spending your life savings just to get the best price. The question, because one of the questions that you have when you write an offer on a house is it going to appraise? Now, what does that mean? Well, you know that your bank is going to bring in an appraiser who's going to determine the value of the house. Those appraisers are professionals who work in a market, and they're especially great. They're great all the time, but they're great in a market like this because they can come in and tell you the absolute value today for what the house is, considering houses selling above list price and above what was the value for them a month ago, even, or a week ago, who knows? But the appraisal can do that. So let's say that you make an offer, but the appraiser comes in and says, "Hey, you know what? Your house isn't worth that much. You made an offer for 110,000, and the house is only worth 105. What does that mean? That means you may need to be prepared to bring $5,000 to the table at the closing. Now, if you're a first-time home buyer, an additional $5,000 payment at the closing table may not be possible for you. So you need to make sure that you protect yourself and that you're going to make sure that your house is the price that you pay for your house is going to be what an appraiser says the value is. Talk to your realtor about this, okay? They can help you. Okay, one other thing in the price, often you'll hear on some of the big networks, that you should be asking for closing costs. Well, today in this market, in the seller's market, if you need to get closing costs because your lender has told you need to, well, then you need to get them. And so make sure that your broker is adding that to the contract. But if you just want to get closing costs because Auntie May said, you should get closing costs, it's just like all you're doing is lowering the price, and it's affecting your ultimate price. And the seller may say, well, I'm not going to give $3,000 less. I'm not going to give away $3,000 or $2,000, whatever the closing costs may be, so that I can affect the price. Okay, so strategy one is making sure that you're pricing the property properly when you're making an offer. Okay, so that's one. The second area is inspection. Okay, so here's a couple of notes that I want to make. Ask your broker, was the property pre-inspected? Is there a copy of the inspection available? If there's a copy of the inspection available, you may be able to look at the problems that are with the house, and you may be able to waive the inspection. You have a right to have the house inspected, but to make your offer more competitive, you may say, you know what, I feel comfortable that the house is in good shape. Um, I'm going to be okay with waiving my right to have it inspected. Okay. Another thing to look at is, and I say this to my clients, has the current owner lived in the house less than 3 years, and did they have it inspected when they moved in? You know, if it's been 3 years or less, while it's not a perfect science, it's probably in better shape because it was inspected and they made repairs. Okay, so that's a speculation on my part. You have to feel comfortable with it, but it's something to have. If it's outside of 3 years, you know, sometimes, let's say you're buying a house that the owner has lived there for 20 years, well, you better get it inspected. You're really taking a risk if you say, you know what, I'll take this house without an inspection. I feel comfortable. I looked at it and it looks all fine. I'm going to ask you this: did you look in the crawl space? Did you look in the attic? Did you go up on the roof? And if you didn't, you know what, inspection is probably the best thing for you to do. Okay, the fourth area, we talked about inspection. We talked about if the owner had bought it within 3 years, or if they had bought it outside of 3 years. So those are the first three things. The fourth thing is a radon inspection. Again, you're entitled to a radon inspection. Ask your realtor to give you information about what it means to have a high radon level. This is very important because radon can be very dangerous. But you might make a decision, you know what, I'll pay for, if we do a radon test and it comes back and it's high, I'll pay for it instead of asking the seller to pay for it. What does it cost? It can cost, I've seen them cost anywhere from $750 to $2,500. It depends on the kind of house you make. And I imagine if you buy a big old mansion, it's going to be more than $2,500. However, if you're buying a big old mansion, you can probably afford to do it anyway. Okay, so radon cost is an area of the inspection. Okay. Now, here's another one that I want to throw out at you, and that's closing date, the date you take that you're going to take ownership. Now, normally your lender will say, you know what, we need 30 days to prepare, or we need 40 days to prepare. But maybe your bank says, you know, we can close as soon as you're ready. And if that's the case, you might say to the seller in your offer, you can choose the closing date. Okay, you can make the date that's going to be convenient for you, and we will adjust. A lot of sellers like that. I just wrote an offer yesterday where I'm confident. I went against 2 or 3 other people, and our prices and all our offers were pretty much the same. But we threw in the idea of, hey, we're going to close when the seller is best able to close. And you know what? The seller loved that. They love that idea. So that's an area. Price, we talked about. We talked about inspection. We talked about closing date. Here's the last one for today's little talk, and that is personal property. You know, if they're offering you the refrigerator and the stove and the dishwasher, take it. Don't hesitate to take it because they're not intending to take it with them. But things like the washer dryer, you know, maybe they want to take it with you. What I say to my clients is if they haven't listed it as being for sale, let's leave it off in our first offer, and after we get the deal signed, let's come back after the fact and say, you know, we kind of like the washer dryer. Is there a way that we could throw that in? Or what about that outdoor furniture? We kind of like that. Can we throw that in? Or maybe we can buy it at a reduced cost. So get the deal done. Get the seller to sign the contract, and then go back and ask for some of the personal property that wasn't included in the listing as being given away. Okay, I hope you learned something today. Okay, there's a lot of questions to be answered about how to prepare a more competitive offer in a seller's market. I wish you the best. I strongly encourage you to get a realtor that you trust, that you can call and meet with, that can help walk you through this so that you can have a better chance to get your perfect house. Thank you very much. Have a great day.